You might think as long as you're making a story, you're using the story method, right? Story method. But that is not true. So I'm helping someone learn memory techniques. And I gave him all these words to memorize. And so I met up with him again and I was like, hey, let's go through the words and tell me the story you created. So he started with a vest. So it's like this person had a vest on, but then he went to the second word. He's like, oh yeah, so this police officer had a vest on and put this person into a salary, right? But then the third word, he did something that most people do. And so he kind of made this random association and it didn't even fit into the story. So it's apple and he was thinking of Adam and Eve. So he was thinking of the Garden of Eden. But he wasn't sure how to connect, his jail kind of scenery he had to the Garden of Eden. So he tried to have, these different associations in terms of locations or whatever the story is going out on, right? Completely disconnected from one another. So he had the police and the vest just because it happened to line up here. And when he got to the third word, he completely jumped to a different story, to the Garden of Eden. Yes, it's gonna be hard to connect, the cell to the Garden of Eden, but of course you could just make it like, okay, oh yeah, and this all happened in the Garden of Eden behind a tree or something. But he started to go on his own different story from this point because he was making kind of a story out of each word without connecting it to the previous word. And that is why it's so easy to kind of get lost when using the story method, thinking, hey, I just have to have some sort of story and it's going to work. But no, if you're using a story method and you're trying to memorize all these words, you have to connect each word with the previous one, or else it's pretty useless, right? And so let's say he made a little story here, then he came over here and maybe made these three words into a story happening in the Garden of Eden, then maybe a toothbrush, and the next three he made it at the dentist's office. Yes, you have these little stories, and you're going to be able to remember, the words within those small stories, but you're not going to remember all of them because they're not all connected. And so you don't want to have these random associations and stories for each single word that kind of branches off into its own story itself. You have to keep everything connected. And so that's a mistake people make all the time with the story method, that they just think, I just need to have some sort of story or some sort of random association with each of these words and then I'll remember it. No, that's not true. The story or the associations have to be connected within the story itself and not just be an association by itself. So hopefully that makes sense, because the story method is something you should really master because you can use it everywhere. It's very simple to use, but mastering it and getting better and better and better, that comes with practice and learning, okay, what's going to work for you, what's not going to work for you. But you definitely don't want to start creating random associations for each word or whatever you're trying to memorize and have it branch off into its own story. So hopefully you enjoy this video, and I'll see you next time.